Alright, so the quick review on the week. So, I mean, this week, horrible, horrible price action. We did have a big, expensive move last week, so you can kind of expect some chop. In terms of news, there wasn't much, as we only had the high impact news, like red folder news events happening on Thursday and Friday. So yeah, it wasn't that great of a week in general. Starting off the week, we had that hidden monthly cycle sequential S&P. So that was here. So between last week's low and this here, yeah. So we had this hidden sequential S&P. Whatever was on this. So we had that. That's kind of what kicked this whole move up. We also on YM we had this daily PSP form on Tuesday, which is why we had this big move on YM. But I guess we don't really move that much on NQ, and I can probably see YM reaching for this high. So that would be give us another SMT. Right. So yeah, Monday we had this, and then we had this huge move up. No PSPs for our time frame here. Well, I have been looking at our 30-minute PSPs. I haven't really backtested it much so far, but something I'm gonna look out for in the future. So if you guys wanna have a look at that as well, then that's cool. So Monday, I think the move someone else caught was this. I think it was a long, and I believe there was let me just check. There was a weekly cycle as well somewhere. It might have been with NKD. Yeah, it might have been, I think Sunday. Let me have a look. Friday. Yeah, so we had this weekly cycle. So the monthly cycle hidden was on Tuesday, and then Monday we had this expansion. So we know that Mondays give us expansions when there's SMT between the previous Friday and the Monday. So we had that here. So we had this Friday's low, NQ, ES, and then YM here. So this is that weekly cycle SMT, and then to confirm that, I believe it was a 90-minute, 5-minute chart, of course, and I believe 90-minute was it here? Where was it? Was it with NKD? Let's have a look. It should be somewhere here. Cool. Is it here? No, it's not here. I'm bugging out. Well, there was a night. I think it was previous quarter. So what was that, 7:30? I'm completely bugging out. 1 second. Where is it? My bad, guys. Okay, so here we go. So this is that Q1 low. New York AM. Q1 low. New York AM would be this low. That would be this low here. So of course we have that 90-minute sequential S&T, which kind of kickstarted this whole move up, and I believe took a trade. I think there's a new week opening up. So the trade that I took, I'm not sure if anyone else took a trade on Monday, was after I think it was here. So the trade we took was after we souped this low on NQ. Here. And then it might have been, yeah, so then YM, this low, basically that very like lower time frame SMT, and then the long I took was somewhere here with a stop here. And we have that little tight stop, and then no 1 minute PSP there, but the long was here, and then going for what were we going for? These highs here. I think it was these equal highs that we were looking for. And also previous day high, and I think some of you guys in here did manage to catch that trade, but that was a trade on Monday. I believe on top of that there was, I'm not sure how much I've spoken about this, but there was that have a look here. If I draw the range, if I draw this range here, and we have our premium and discount, then you'd be able to see, what was it with, I believe there was a premium, there was a cracking correlation between, let me just check in KD quickly. There should have been a cracking correlation between premium and discount, which is why we had this long. So one asset would have been trading, yeah, so it's NKD. So this range here. Oh, never mind, I'm bucking out again. Sorry guys, but it might have been on a higher time frame range. Oh yeah, it was actually, hang on. Let's go back quickly. Yeah, it was this range here. So I'm going to YM. If I draw, I'll go 4 hour time frame. If I draw this range here, we're trading in discount of this range on NQ. If I draw this range on YM, what's going on? I must have been looking at something else. Might have been, what was I looking at? I think it might have been NKD that I was looking at, where we traded outside this range or something like that, and then trading discount here. But the whole point is that when we're trading, one asset's trading in premium, one asset's trading in discount, then that is also a cracking correlation that we can look at. I should have checked the charts quickly before I start this. On top of that, I think I did mention on the Monday morning is that, I think I mentioned it on the Sunday as well, on our little weekly outlook, is we have this daily balanced price range that we're trading inside of on NQ, and then the same one on ES, which we failed to reach. So you can see here that's SMT fill, so it's not just fair value gaps, balanced price ranges as well that we can use. And then yeah, just to make all of this even higher probability, it was all within these new week opening gaps, like about 2-3 new week opening gaps we're trading within. So that's making that even higher probability. And then we had this expansive move, even on a no news Monday. So that was Monday. And then yeah, the whole thing that kind of kickstarted this was this daily PSP that we had on, was it Tuesday? So yeah, Tuesday, we had this PSP here, which is what led to this move, and then we trade into the gap of the precision swing point, and then trade higher. Always, we're paying attention to our true week open as well, so we're trading below our true week open. And I'll go over the trade on Wednesday as well, because that was a pretty crazy one, that 1 to 47 RR trade. So of course we had that. Oops. we had that, it was a weekly cycle, sequential SMT. So if I draw, this is Tuesday's high. Tuesday's high would be here. Tuesday's high, which is being traded above. Same with ES, Tuesday's high. But then of course we have YM trading below Tuesday's high. So that's that. First stage, weekly cycle sequential SMT, and remember we can assign the different cycles numbers. So for the weekly cycle we're going to be using the number 3. And in the morning I mentioned that we had a 4 on the lows, was that hidden monthly cycle. That's 4, and that's all we had. And we didn't take a trade on Tuesday because there's no lower time frame to confirm that. So it was just 4 alone. So we had 3, and then I put in the chart analysis section that we were looking for something to oppose this, and we need something equal to or greater to. So we need at least a 1, so minimum of a 90-minute cycle, and then a 2 would obviously make it a daily cycle, which would be greater than 4. So then, you know, as I wrote, we need a 3 plus something, which is going to be more than the 4. So then we got that daily cycle confirming this. And yeah, usually I only trade from 9 to 10:30. But yeah, I saw this and it looked too good, so we had that daily cycle SMT here. And on top of that, to confirm it, there's that 15-minute PSP, I believe here. So yeah, the 15-minute PSP form, oops, which was that indication, that signal that we were going to move lower. And I believe this was this TPD. No. So yeah, 15-minute PSP to confirm this. And we also, onto the daily chart, if I draw this daily gap that we have here, YM, we're failing to trade inside of it on Wednesday, but on AQ we're trading within the gap, so that's that SMTF again. And then yeah, that's what kick-started, that's what gave us the signal to go lower. And then if I go onto the, I think it was the 3-minute chart, there was a 3-minute TPD within this 50-minute PSP. And so I did mention in the I think it was the first recording of what, how the real PSPs that we want to be using are fractal. So we've got PSPs within PSPs. So if I find it, which one was it? It was here. Yeah, so we have this 3-minute TPD. Thank you. So within the 15-minute PSP wick, we have a 3-minute PSP, also a divergence between the close of the first candle and then the open of the third candle. So we have this TPD, which is then, I believe, what I took a short on my stop. Thinking actually might have been a bit lower than my stop at this top of this wick here, which was the top of the wick of the 3-minute PSP. And then the draw liquidity was, where are we? Draw liquidity was 2-week open, which also happened to be inside or a new day opening gap. So we target that. I think my entry might have been something like that. so that was the trade on Tuesday. Then of course we could have left a runner down to these new week opening gaps, but I was pretty content with closing it at the true week open. But yeah, could have held it down to the new week opening gaps, any of these ones. And you can see they all get traded too, and then that's where we reversed from. Yeah, and we reversed from there. And then I think going into Thursday we took a loss. Or Thursday we did take a loss, I think. Oh no, Thursday it was the break even day. So I'll quickly get rid of this. Thursday, I believe London was the session to trade. I think someone posted some charts. I think it might have been Satish that posted the charts in the chat, and he kind of showed the moves that we could have caught in London session. But of course we don't trade London, or I don't at least. So what I was looking at was Thursday. We had a weekly cycle, I believe. So where's the weekly cycle? It's NKD. Yes, NKD. PDL has not been taken on NQ, but then PDL of course been taken on NKD, and that's that first stage. And then the second stage, there was should be a daily cycle somewhere. So we have a daily cycle, yep, with ES. So London low's been taken there. London low's not been taken here. And I did get in a little bit too early. My entry was a 5-minute TPD. So we have this 5-minute PSP here, which didn't end up holding. So it's 5-minute TPD at the true week open, I believe this is. Is that true week open? Yeah, it's true week open. So at the true week open we have this 5-minute PSP. It's TPD actually. So again, divergence between the close of the first candle, open of the third one. And then my entry should have been here, with stop here, or probably a little bit higher since it was a bit bigger than I usually like. And then yeah, draw was these highs here, and probably higher up to the new day opening gap above us. But then of course, partials when we saw an opposing 5-minute PSP. That's when we took partials, moved to stops break even, and then we got stopped out there. And then we ended up having the right bias, but then just a little bit too early on the move. And then we have a precision candle here, and then we trade higher off of that wick. That's kind of what we were looking at this week. In terms of going into next week, I'll just get rid of these. Mostly bullish for the most part. The clear draw for YM is this high right now. We've really inversed these daily gaps, and we're kind of moving off this daily PSP here. So we've inversed this and moved higher, so we can expect this to get taken on YM. And then we have ES and NQ lagging behind a bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if ES as well gets trades to this high. And we also mentioned how a couple of weeks ago how PSPs hold a lot of liquidity as well. So this candle at the top was a daily PSP. So current draws on liquidity are going to be we have this balanced price range as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if NQ at least trades to here, and ES and YM take this high. So those are the current draws for the most part. NQ may end up trading to this new week opening gap and then moving lower off that, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. And then, well, long term, we do have these equal lows here. Something I've been keeping my eye on. But one thing you can do is picture this weekly chart as a 1 minute chart, and then everything, it becomes much easier to understand. So this was a 1 minute chart. You would expect it to move down, take these lows, right? But because most people view this as a weekly chart, they view it from a different perspective. I think hopefully if you'll kind of understand that, because time is fractal. So yeah, take a step back, look at this as a 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart. We're keeping our eyes on these equal lows as probably a draw of liquidity. Probably not this year, maybe going into next year. And we're having all these wars at the moment, which is obviously going to have that macro effect on the charts. So that could obviously lead to a move lower, going for these lows. And then we'll see what happens from there. But we're going to need SMTs that are going to be of a greater magnitude than the ones on the lows. So of course we'll use our numbers and stuff to kind of figure that out. But yeah, there's not much to talk about this week. Pretty choppy. So there's not much to talk about. If you talk about crypto for a second, getting very bearish on Bitcoin. We have this 16-year cycle, sequential SMT on the highs that we've had for a while. But of course, this is going to be long term. It's not going to give us some kind of instant move. It's a 16-year cycle, so it's not going to give us something in the next month. But this will be our higher time frame sequential SMT. And then we have this yearly cycle as well. And then we did have a weekly PSP here. It's no longer PSP because, of course, we traded above it now. It's no longer a precision swing point, but we can still treat it as a precision candle, and we're trading within this wick at the moment. And this weekly candle should close inside the wick. So I wouldn't be surprised if this holds. And then in terms of draws and liquidity, you can see here, 65k, we've got this gap, this low here, which is an old SMT that was hidden here. And then we have 15k as the final draw, due to the fact that we had this SMT here. And we know that SMT holds, these unsymmetrical highs and lows hold a lot of liquidity. So in terms of crypto, that's that kind of long-term target, but we're going to have to wait for more confirmation, of course, to start this move. But to be honest, wouldn't be too surprised if this is a top, because we've also had this daily PSP with Ethereum here. So this daily PSP could be what triggers this kind of bear cycle or whatever. And I'm sure most of you have heard about all these meme coins and stuff popping off. A lot of people are going to be turning their heads into crypto now, or retail. Everyone, their mums, their aunties, their uncles and everything, they're going to be looking to buy Bitcoin, and that's that signal for you to start selling. Fade the masses. When everyone starts trying to buy, we sell. And there shouldn't be any reason any of you are buying Bitcoin here. I'd at least be waiting to come into discount. So till this low at least gets taken, I wouldn't be buying any Bitcoin, and I'll be trying to catch a few moves up. But yeah, the main long-term goal is 15k for the maybe next year or the year after, I'd imagine. But yeah, you can also remember how I said we can picture this as a 1 minute chart. So this could easily move back lower because of that fractality of time. So yeah, getting very bearish on Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. It's a pretty short one since there wasn't much to talk about today. But has anyone got any questions or anything? Just pop them in the chat. Nope. Nothing. But yeah, this was pretty cheap one. I'm thinking, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. One other thing I could mention, you can get potential shorts going into Monday is, well, of course, there's no news on Monday. It's bank holiday on Thursday. I wouldn't be trading Thursday if I were you, or Friday as well, since it's after a bank holiday. We also have no news, but currently be looking to trade on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's going to be our high probability days. And Wednesday we have 4 red folder news events, so that's going to be our highest, most likely day that we're going to get a high low of the week. So that's the day that we're focusing on the most. But I imagine we'll chop around on Monday unless we get that SMT between Friday and Monday, which might give us some sort of expansive move lower. Because of this, well, we also have this daily gap, I believe. We have this daily SMT fill again. So this could be a reason why we get some sort of retracement lower before trading higher. And if I have a look, see here, no. But yeah, so we do have this. This is a cracking correlation. It's going to be an additional stage that we have. So I would pay attention to that as well. So if we end up reaching this gap before we start trading, then I wouldn't expect us to go lower. But yeah, no fair value gaps being made this week at all on the daily chart. So it's obviously very choppy price action. We're just wicking about everywhere. So I hope you guys did go over your trades, and then if you're not happy about the results you had this week, then just remember it's a game of probabilities. It's not something short term. We're doing this to make money in the long term, and not in just, so you can't, don't look at it like as in just this week. Kind of broaden your vision, and of course it's a low probability week, so don't beat yourself up about it. But I'd hope next week we get some good opportunities on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the week after we have NFP and we have red folder news every single day. So this will be an interesting week, but we'll get to that next weekend. But yeah, cool. I'm recording this. I'll put it up on WhatsApp, and if you guys have any kind of recommendations or things that you want to talk about, then just let me know. Just at me in the chat, and then I'll try and do something like that. And I'm gonna try my best to remember to record my executions as well and post them up. But I just keep forgetting to do that. So I'll definitely start doing that as of now. But yeah, alright guys, cool. I guess that's it. If no one's got any more questions, talk to you guys tomorrow and see if we get any opportunities or anything that we, that SMT between. If we get SMT between Friday and Monday, then I will be here looking to take a trade. But if not, then I'll be off the charts tomorrow, and I recommend that you guys are as well. Cool. Alright guys, have a good rest of your day or night. I don't know where you guys are. But yeah, cool. Alright, I'm gonna end it here. Alright, bye guys.